The courtroom seemed cold and echoing to Anna from the very first moment. Of all the places in the world, this was one she had never been before. Well, every beginning is hard, she thought with a touch of irony. Every sound bounced off the high ceiling, amplifying the already oppressive atmosphere. Anna sat on a hard wooden bench, clutching the worn handle of her old handbag. She felt small, out of place in this world of black robes, dry legal phrases, and indifferent faces. No one sat beside her, neither her parents, who thought this whole idea was foolish, nor her husband, who was the very reason she was here. Victor sat across the aisle, next to his lawyer. Her not-yet ex-husband looked, as always, impeccable, an expensive suit, perfectly styled hair, and that confident, predatory look in his eyes. His attorney, Mr. Lawrence, a man with manicured hands and sharp, calculating eyes, whispered something into his ear. Victor nodded smugly. Anna gave them a quick glance and immediately looked away. It had been only 6 months since they'd separated, and yet her husband already seemed like a complete stranger, one who had come here to take from her and her children the last ray of hope. And there were 4 children. 10-year-old Kyle, her firstborn from a naive young love, serious-eyed, artistic, and thoughtful. Then 7-year-old Michael, her son with Victor, restless, loud, a whirlwind of energy. And finally, the 6-year-old twins, Lily and Emma, her late friend Sarah's daughters, whom Anna had taken in after the tragic accident. 4 little lives, 4 pairs of shoes that were always soaked through, and 4 futures that depended on her. "Please rise," a stern voice called. The judge entered, a gray-haired man with a weary yet perceptive gaze. The session began. Mr. Lawrence spoke at length, his voice steady and confident. He cited articles, sections, and terms, half of which Anna didn't even understand. But the meaning was clear enough. His client, Mr. Victor Miller, was the creditor of the late Mr. Gregory Wallace. "Here is the debt note, notarized," the lawyer said. "The debt amount significantly exceeds the cadastral value of the inherited property, a small pond with a cabin in the Upper Lake settlement. Therefore, this property should legally pass to the creditor as payment toward the debt." The judge frowned slightly and asked the clerk to bring him the original documents. "In conclusion, Your Honor," said the attorney, "the claims of Ms. Anna Miller on the inheritance, left to her out of good but economically irrational intentions of the deceased, are entirely groundless." The judge looked at Victor. "Mr. Miller, do you confirm your representative's statements?" Victor stood, shot Anna a contemptuous look, and smirked coldly. "She's a pauper with a brood of kids. I won't give her a cent." "Yes, Your Honor, I fully confirm my lawyer's statement. The deceased owed my company a large sum of money, and I don't see why his property should go to some random woman. I run a business, I have obligations. She, on the other hand," he waved dismissively toward Anna. "She has enough burdens of her own." The words hit her like a slap, loud, humiliating. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. The judge raised his eyebrows in surprise and looked sharply at Victor. "Please mind your language. This is a courtroom, not a marketplace," he said sternly. Then he turned to Anna. "Do you have anything to say, Ms. Miller?" Her knees trembled. Slowly, she approached the microphone. Her voice at first wouldn't obey her. "Your Honor. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the laws. I work as a nursing aide in the oncology ward, and that's where I met Mr. Wallace. He was a very lonely man. He had no one, and I was just there for him. We talked a lot. He told me about the pond, how he used to catch fish there as a boy and how he dreamed of raising fish and crayfish there after retirement. He said that place was his soul." Tears stung her eyes, but Anna forced herself to go on. "He saw how I live, how I struggle between work and my children. Mr. Wallace knew that I dreamed of having a place of my own, where my kids could run barefoot on the grass instead of crowding in a rented room. When he made his will, he told me something I'll never forget, 'Anna, I can't give you millions, but I can give you a dream. I want you and your little ones to be happy.'" Anna fell silent, swallowing the lump in her throat. "I'm not asking for much. I just want to honor the wish of a good man, and give my children that dream." The courtroom was silent. The judge looked at her with visible respect. It was clear that her simple, sincere words touched him. But then his gaze dropped to the debt note on the desk, and his face became serious again. "Your words do you great credit, Ms. Miller," he said gravely. "However, the court operates not on emotions, but on facts. And the fact is, a document confirming the existence of a debt. That changes the essence of the case." He sighed heavily. "I am forced to postpone the hearing for further examination of all circumstances and verification of the authenticity of the submitted documents. But I must warn both parties, if the debt note and the amount are confirmed to be valid, the law will likely be on the side of the creditor." He struck the gavel. For Anna, the sound felt like a sentence. It was over. Victor and his lawyer exchanged satisfied glances, while she, numb and disheartened, walked out of the courthouse. Outside, the autumn wind immediately threw a handful of cold, prickly raindrops into her face. She stood motionless, unaware of the wind or the passing people. A dream had died, before it even had a chance to live. Anna walked quickly through the wet streets, heading toward work. The drizzle turned into a steady rain, but she didn't bother to open her umbrella. Her thoughts were heavy, tangled. For the past 6 months, she and the children had been living in a small guest house rented out by a kind old woman for almost nothing. It was only a temporary shelter. But that pond, that tiny house by the water, could have been their real home. Memory, ever merciless, brought back the image of Gregory Wallace. He had been admitted to their ward already in a grave condition, frail, wasted, with bright, intelligent eyes. He rarely spoke, but he understood everything. Anna cared for him like for her own grandfather. She was the only one who didn't see just another cancer patient in room 7. She remembered vividly the day Mr. Wallace couldn't open a jar of apple puree. His hands were too weak. She had knelt beside him, opened it, and started feeding him gently with a spoon, like a child. The old man ate in silence, tears rolling down his cheeks. "Thank you, my dear," he whispered. Another time, late at night, his condition worsened. He was delirious, calling out names. Anna was on duty. She sat beside him, holding his hot, dry hand for hours, softly humming a lullaby she usually sang to her children. Eventually, he calmed down and fell asleep. In the morning, when he regained consciousness, he looked at her for a long time and said, "You're an angel. I want you to have a good life." It was after that night that the terminally ill man asked for a notary. The words of her husband echoed in her mind again and again, a pauper with a brood of kids. Each repetition stung like a blade. How could he? He had seen her struggle, seen everything, and never lifted a finger to help. Only to humiliate. Their married life had been gray, joyless. He, the successful manager, she, a simple hospital aide. That difference in status had always been Victor's favorite topic. "Do you even realize how embarrassing it is for me?" he would say at dinner, especially when guests were expected. "My wife scrubs floors and cleans up after patients. You shame me. Why can't you get a normal job?" Oh, right, with your kind of education, she had tried, but with 4 kids, 2 just starting 1st grade and the youngest in daycare, finding another job was impossible. She needed flexible shifts, or the children simply wouldn't eat. His mother, Helen Miller, had only made things worse. The woman idolized her son and treated Anna as if she were a household servant. Her visits were sudden and always felt like health inspections. "What's this? Dust on top of the cabinet," she'd say, running a white-gloved finger across the surface. "You're such a slob. How can you let the house go like this? And look at these toys, scattered everywhere. You call yourself a mother? This place is a zoo." What irritated her most were the twins, Lily and Emma. "Too many kids," she'd hiss when Victor wasn't home. "You can barely feed your own too, and you brought in someone else's brats? What are you trying to prove, that you're some kind of saint? And my son has to support all of them?" Anna kept silent. What else could she do? Her own parents had never been a source of comfort either. George and Martha Davis were strict, domineering people. They decided everything for her, which school to attend, who her friends should be, what hobbies were appropriate. She still remembered how, as a child, she had dreamed of dancing, but her parents had forced her into piano lessons instead, because it's cultured. She hated the black and white keys, but spent 3 hours every day practicing, swallowing tears. Her parents had chosen her future too, medical school. A doctor's career is stable and respectable, her father said. Anna obeyed. She studied well, and for a while even liked it, until she fell in love in her 3rd year. Her classmate, handsome, poetic, and irresponsible. Then came the test with 2 lines, and his panicked, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." Her parents were furious. "You've disgraced us. Got yourself knocked up. Shame on you," her father had shouted. She had to leave school. Then Victor appeared, a distant acquaintance, older, successful, promising. "This is your chance," her mother said firmly. "He's willing to marry you even with a child on the way. You won't get another opportunity like this." Anna agreed, too tired to resist. Victor did marry her, pregnant with another man's child, but he never missed a chance to remind her of it. Her firstborn, Kyle, was a constant reproach to him, "That kid you brought into my house," as he once called the boy after a night of drinking. Even the birth of their son Michael didn't change anything. Victor never became close to her. He was merely a roommate who paid the bills and demanded hot dinners. Anna smiled bitterly through her tears. In 8 years of marriage, the most memorable gift he had ever given her was a set of plastic cutting boards for her birthday. "Very practical for the kitchen," he'd said. The familiar smell of chlorine and medicine hit her as soon as Anna stepped into the hospital. She changed into her uniform, tied her hair back, and went to the morning briefing. The head of the department, Dr. Daniels, a man in his 40s with a perpetually irritated face, had never liked her. He considered nursing aides a lower caste and didn't miss a chance to show it. "Attention," he announced without looking at anyone. "As of tomorrow, according to the new safety regulations, surveillance cameras will be installed in all hallways and treatment rooms. Please maintain professional discipline and refrain from personal activities during work hours." The nurses, the twin sisters Valerie and Olivia, exchanged glances and snickered, throwing Anna a mocking look. They thought she was a simple-minded woman with no education and often made snide remarks behind her back. Anna began cleaning the corridor floors, trying to push thoughts of the court out of her mind. The words, "The law will be on the creditor's side," echoed in her head. It was over. Victor would take away even the last bit of hope. About an hour and a half later, her phone buzzed in her pocket. "Mom, Anna, how did it go? What did the judge say?" Her mother's sharp, demanding voice came through the receiver. "They postponed the hearing for 2 weeks," Anna said quietly. "But I'll probably lose." "I told you not to mess with it," her mother scolded. "What do you need that stupid pond for? Give it to Victor, don't make him angry. He's still the father of your child. Maybe he'll come back to you. He'll get tired of that secretary of his. You'll see. But if you keep being stubborn, well, who's going to want a divorced woman with 4 kids?" "Mom, please stop," Anna said, her throat tightening. "Victor humiliates me. He hates all of us. I'm not going back to him. I'll go through with the divorce." "You foolish girl. Always your own way. That's why your whole life is a mess." "Enough," Anna shouted into the phone. "Stop deciding everything for me. This is my life." She hung up and leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. Why couldn't her parents ever just support her? "Miller, is there a problem?" came Dr. Daniels' sharp voice behind her. He stood in the doorway, clearly having overheard everything. "No, Dr. Daniels," she muttered. "Really? I heard something about an inheritance." "What kind of inheritance could you possibly have, Miss Miller? Win the lottery or something?" he smirked. Anna sighed. "One of my patients left me a small pond and a house by it," she said quietly. The doctor's eyes lit up suddenly, predatory, calculating. A pond and a house, you say? That's interesting. I've been looking for a retirement gift for my father. He's an avid fisherman. Maybe you'd sell it to me? I'll pay a good price. You could use the money more than that puddle with carp in it. The offer was so blunt, so cynical, that Anna froze for a moment. Thank you, doctor, but I can't, she said softly. It's for my children. The smile slowly faded from his face. You can't, he repeated, his voice suddenly cold. Well, just make sure you don't regret it. Regret it deeply. He turned on his heel and walked away, leaving her with a bitter taste in her mouth. Anna forced herself to keep working. There was still so much to do. In the treatment room, Nurse Valerie was trying to insert N4 into an elderly patient's arm but kept missing the vein. The woman's arm was already swollen. Oh God, what do I do now? Valerie stammered in panic. Should I call the doctor? No, it's fine, Anna said calmly, remembering her medical training. We'll fix it. She quickly closed the foreclamp, carefully removed the needle, and began to apply a cold compress. There, nothing serious, she said gently to the patient. It'll go down soon. Her voice was steady and reassuring, the voice of someone who knew pain, who had seen too much of it but still managed to stay kind. Outside, the autumn rain drummed on the windows. Somewhere deep down, Anna felt the faintest spark, fragile but real. Maybe it wasn't over yet. Maybe justice, like healing, simply took time.